Section 4.2, adding, subtracting, and multiplying polynomials. The first part, adding and subtracting, is pretty simple. It's just a matter of combining like terms. Okay, just make sure you keep your signs organized, and then just combine your like terms. So remember, like terms are terms that have identical variable parts, like 3x cubed and x cubed, 2x squared, negative 10x squared, negative 7, positive 8. Those are all examples of like terms. So when we're adding or subtracting, I'm going to show you two different ways to do them, both adding and subtracting. One's going to be a horizontal method like number one, and then when we get to number two, I'll show you a vertical way to add or subtract. You're going to get the same answer either way. It's just a matter of organization and personal preference. I'm not going to say add or subtract in a vertical method or a horizontal method. I'm just going to say add or subtract, and it will be your choice as to which way you do. Okay, so we'll start with adding and subtracting, starting with adding in this one. So we're going to have 3x cubed plus 1x cubed. That would be 4x cubed, 4x cubed. Then we'll go down to x squareds. So 2x squared plus negative 10x squared. Remember, make sure you keep your signs organized. 2 plus negative 10 is negative 8x squared. Whoops, that's not cubed, that's squared. Remember, when you're adding and subtracting, the variable parts do not change. The negative x, there's no x term in this one, so well, that'd be like plus 0, so we'll have negative x. And then the last one, the constant terms, negative 7, so we'll have negative 7 plus positive 8. Negative 7 plus 8 is 1. So 4x cubed minus 8x squared minus x plus 1 is your answer for number one. Number two, let's try the vertical method. In the vertical method, remember when we're thinking back to just like 3-column addition in elementary, if we had like 135 plus 74, we just line up our units, tens, hundreds, so on. We're going to do the same thing here with polynomials. Okay, so I'm going to write the longer one first. So we'll have 9y cubed, cubed plus 3y squared minus 2y plus 1. And then the second one, we're going to have this one. Make sure your terms are lined up, negative 5y squared plus y minus 4. And we're going to add those two together. It's kind of like the elimination method from solving systems. Just add straight down. 9y cubed plus 0. That's 9y cubed. And with polynomial addition and subtraction, there's going to be no carrying involved, so we don't need to worry about, if this was 10, we'd put a 1 up there. That's not the case. We just, if it's 10, write 10 here. Okay, so we'll move on here. This is, let's see, 3y squared plus negative 5y squared is negative 2y squared. Negative 2y plus 1y is negative 1y. And 1 plus negative 4 is negative 3. So this would be your answer for number two. It's totally your choice which way you want to do it. You can do it horizontally or you can do it vertically. Like I said, completely your choice. I'm not going to require a specific way to solve a certain problem. I'm just going to say add or subtract, and it's going to be up to you to decide which method you prefer. Let's try a couple of subtracting ones. Let's start with the biggest exponent. That would be cubed. And make sure we keep our signs in order. 8x squared minus 2x, or 8x cubed minus 2x cubed is 6x cubed. Just keep going down the line. Negative 3x squared, x squared's over here. Negative 3 minus 6 is negative 9x squared. Then we'll go to the x's. Negative 2x, negative x. So we'll have negative 2 minus negative 1. Negative 2 minus negative 1 is negative 1. Be like negative 2 plus 1. So minus x, and then our constant terms, we got positive 9, positive 1, 9 minus 1. That is positive 8. So there's your answer for number three. 6x cubed minus 9x squared minus x plus 8. Last one, subtract 3z squared plus z minus 4 from 2z squared plus 3z. Now, order matters here. Okay, we can do this one horizontally or vertically, it doesn't matter. But when it says subtract this from this, this one actually goes first. Okay, so we're going to have 2z squared plus 3z minus 3z squared plus z minus 4. So if they said subtract 10 from 8, you would do 8 minus 10. You would not do 10 minus 8, okay? So if it says subtract 10 from 8, this one is actually the second term. And in subtraction, the order matters, okay? So in this first polynomial, we don't have this constant term, so we can think of that as like plus 0. And then we can go ahead and we'll subtract. We'll just keep our signs organized. It's just like the elimination method, kind of. So 2z squared minus 3z squared is negative 1z squared, so negative z squared. Let's see, 3z minus 1z, 3z minus 1z, 3 minus 1 is 2, positive 2z. And then our constant terms, 0 minus negative 4, that is positive 4. So negative z squared plus 2z plus 4 is your answer there for number 4. Hopefully adding and subtracting makes sense to you. It's not that difficult. It's just a matter of combining like terms and making sure we stay organized with our signs. Multiplying, though, not much more difficult. It's kind of an extension of the FOIL method. Okay, so when we're multiplying polynomials, we multiply all the terms of one polynomial with all the terms of the second polynomial. Okay, we can kind of think of this as big FOIL or the distributive property, different ways to think about it, but we're all going to be doing the same thing in the end. Okay, so for number 1, multiply. I'm going to take this term, the negative x squared, I'm going to multiply it by x, and I'm going to multiply it by negative 3. Okay, so negative x squared times x, negative times positive is negative, x squared times x is x cubed. Negative x squared times negative 3 is a positive 3x squared. Okay, once I've multiplied this term by everything here, move down the line. I'm going to do 2x times x and 2x times negative 3. So 2x times x is positive 2x squared, and 2x times negative 3 is a negative 6x. Okay, do one more time, go down the line. 4 times x is 4x, 4 times negative 3 is negative 12. Now we have some like terms that we can combine. We can combine the x squareds, we can combine the x's. Okay, so we'll have negative x cubed, 3x squared plus 2x squared is 5x squared. You don't need to do any inverse operations because there's no equal sign, there's no equation. You don't have to move things around, we just need to combine like terms. Negative 6x plus 4x is negative 2x. And then the last thing on the end is minus 12. So this right here is your answer for number 1. Number 2, y plus 5 times 3y squared minus 2y plus 2. Same idea. We're going to take the first term in the first polynomial, and this time we're going to go by 3 terms. Doesn't really matter. We're basically doing the same thing, just instead of 3 by 2, now it's 2 by 3. It doesn't really matter. We're going to get the same answer in the end. So y times 3y squared is 3y cubed, 3y to the third. Y times negative 2y is negative 2y squared. And then y times 2 is positive 2y. Okay, go ahead and do the same thing here. We'll multiply 5 by everything. 5 times 3y squared is 15y squared. 5 times negative 2y is negative 10y. And 5 times 2 is positive 10. Okay, once again, combine your like terms. We're going to have y squareds, and we're going to have y's. Okay, we don't have any other y cubes or constant terms, so those will be on the ends. 3y cubed. And then plus 10 on the end. Negative 2y squared plus 15y squared. Negative 2 plus 15 is positive 13y squared. When you're adding and subtracting, the variable parts do not change. 15y squared, let's see, we did the y squared, so now 2y minus 10y is negative 8y. Okay, so here is our answer for number 2. 3y cubed plus 13y squared minus 8y plus 10. Now, you can also multiply in a vertical format. I will show you that here with number 3. And we're also going to talk about a special situation in number 3. If you have 3 polynomials and you're multiplying them together, just like if you had 3 numbers, 3 times 4 times 7, okay? You can't multiply all 3 at the same time. You do 2 numbers together and then multiply it by the third. We're going to do the same thing with polynomials. If you have 3 polynomials, pick 2 to multiply together, like these 2, or these 2, or this one and this one. It's totally your choice. And then multiply the third one after that. So let's do the first 2. X minus 1 times x plus 4. This is actually FOIL, so first times first is x squared. X times 4 is 4x, positive 4x. Negative 1 times x is negative x. And negative 1 times 4 is negative 4. We can combine those, so we'll have x squared plus, let's see, 4x minus 1x is 3x, and then minus 4 on the end. And what we're going to do, we're going to take this and we're going to multiply it by x plus 5. Now, the vertical method, what we can do is we can rewrite this down here. And we actually don't have to line things up, but we just, remember, everything gets lined up on the right. Okay, so we're going to be multiplying here. Just like if we had 137 times 24, we would take 4 times 7, 4 times 3, 4 times 1, drop the 0, and then do it again with the next term over. We're going to do the same thing here. Okay, so we'll start with negative 4 times 5. That is negative 20. We're not going to do any carrying. Okay, so we just multiply the 5 by everything and then the x by everything. 5 times 3x is 15x, positive 15x, and then 5 times x squared is 5x squared. Okay, so we're done with this 5, which means we drop the 0, cross it off, and do it again with the x term. X times this, x times that, x times that. Okay, so x times negative 4 is negative 4x. X times 3x is 3x squared, and x times x squared is x cubed. Now, kind of out of space, but we'll make it work. Okay, and then remember, after we multiply these numbers together, 7 times 4, 28, blah, 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 we get to 0. What we have to do is add those numbers, add those rows together. Okay, we're going to do the same thing here. Negative 20 plus 0 is still negative 20. 15x plus negative 4x, or 15x minus 4x, is positive 11x. 5x squared plus 3x squared is 8x squared. And then that's positive 8x squared, and then we have 1x cubed at the end. So x cubed plus 8x squared plus 11x minus 20 is your final answer there for example number 3. X minus 1 times x plus 4 times x plus 5. Now, there are some types of multiplying polynomial patterns, and those are special patterns, okay? I've got 3 of them for you: the sum and difference pattern, the square of a binomial, and the cube of a binomial. The sum and difference pattern, what this says is if we have a plus b times a minus b, okay? So let me give you an example, something like x plus 2 times x minus 2. If we FOIL this out, x times x is x squared, x times negative 2 is negative 2x, 2 times x is positive 2x, and 2 times negative 2 is negative 4. If we clean this up, the negative 2x and the positive 2x cancel each other out. We're left with x squared minus 4. Well, x squared, 2, 4, they are both squares. Okay, so the sum and difference pattern says if you have a plus b times a minus b, you can simplify this. You wouldn't even need to FOIL it all out if you can recognize this pattern. It's going to be a squared minus b squared. The sign in between is always going to be minus. Square the first term, square the second term, put a minus in between, and you'll have your answer. Let's try another one here. Something like 2y plus 1 times 2y minus 1. Okay, we have the sum and difference pattern, a plus b, a minus b. And they could be written in opposite order. This could be 2y minus 1, and this could be 2y plus 1. Doesn't matter the order, as long as you got one sum, one difference. So the pattern says we square the first term, so 2y squared, put a minus in between, square the second term, 1 squared, and let's simplify it. 2y squared means 2y times 2y, which is 4y squared, minus 1 squared is still 1, so 4y squared minus 1. You don't need to actually FOIL this out if you can recognize the sum and difference pattern and then fill it in. It's kind of a plug and chug type of method. Okay, I hope there's a couple of examples for sum and difference pattern. The next pattern, the square of a binomial. Okay, so this one, if we have a plus b times a plus b, or rather than a plus b times a plus b, that would be a plus b squared. Okay, so a plus b squared. How this one works out, and I'm just going to write this one for you, a squared plus 2ab plus b squared. Okay, that's how it works out every time. Okay, so if we had something like x plus 3 squared, okay, we're going to take the first term, that would be x, so x squared, plus 2 times my a, which again is x, times my b, which is this time 3, plus my b again, 3, and we're going to square that. Okay, so x squared is, well, it's x squared. 2 times x times 3 is 6x, and 3 squared, that is 9. So rather than having to write it out and FOIL it out, you can just plug this into your pattern, a squared plus 2ab plus b squared, and that will give you the product x plus 3 squared. Notice it is not x squared plus 9. This exponent right here is not distributive to the each term in the parenthesis. It is not x squared plus 9. It's x squared plus 6x plus 9. There's a term in the middle that you wouldn't get if you just distribute this 2 and make it x squared plus 9. That is not correct. Okay, let's try one with a negative. So how about a minus 5 squared? Okay, so again, follow the pattern. So we'll have a, which is actually a this time, a squared, plus 2 times my a, again a, times my b, which is negative 5 this time, plus b squared. Okay, so a squared, well, that's just a squared. 2 times a times negative 5 is negative 10a. And then plus negative 5 squared, negative 5 times negative 5 is positive 25. So a squared minus 10a plus 25. Okay, so that term on the end is always going to be plus because you're squaring a number. Always going to get a positive when you square. And then the sign, the first sign actually matches the sign in the parentheses at the beginning. All right, so moving on to the third pattern, the cube of a binomial. Okay, so if I have a plus b cubed, okay, this pattern, a little different, a little longer, a cubed, cubed, plus 3a squared b plus 3ab squared plus b cubed. That is the pattern for cube of a binomial. So if you had something like x plus 4 cubed, we can plug things into our formula. Notice that 3a squared b and 3ab squared are different because in the first one we're squaring a, in the second one we're squaring b. We're not taking the product, like in this one, we're not taking a times b and then squaring. If that was the case, there would be parentheses around it, but there aren't. So we don't need to take a times b and square it for that third term. We're just going to take b, we're going to square it, and we're going to go from there. Okay, so x plus 4 cubed. So we're going to start with our first term, x, cube it, plus 3 times my a again is x. We're going to square it this time, times our b value, which is 4, plus 3 times my a, again that's x, times our b, which is 4, and we're going to square that, plus 4 cubed. Okay, let's clean this up. X cubed is, well, that's just x cubed. 3 times x squared times 4. Well, 3 times 4 is 12, and then x squared is x squared. Let's see, third term, 4 squared is 16. 16 times 3, that is 48, and then 48 times x is 48x. And then the last term, 4 cubed, that is 64. So x cubed plus 12x squared plus 48x plus 64 is your final answer. This is going to work a lot faster than having to write out x plus 4 times x plus 4 times x plus 4 and multiplying it all out at the same time every time. Okay? Let's try one more example. What if we had a minus? So let's say we had y minus 6 cubed. Okay, so we start with our first term, so we're going to have y cubed plus 3 times our first term again, y squared times our second term, negative 6, plus 3 times our y times negative 6 squared, plus negative 6 cubed. Okay, we're just filling in our a's and our b's. Y cubed is, well, that's y cubed again. 3 times negative 6 is negative 18y squared. Let's see, negative 6 squared is 36. 36 times 3 is 108, and it's positive 108, 108y. And then negative 6 cubed, negative times negative is a negative. 6 to the third power is 216. So y cubed minus 18y squared plus 108y minus 216.